Rashmi signing, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone who has joined us today on behalf of SIUK. We are now live with Goldsmiths University London, and we have among the experts.
Hi there, everyone. So I'm just going to take over from Ashoka. Hi, Rajni. If you can just keep yourself muted, I'll take over from here if that's okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today's session with Goldsmiths University of London. Just to do some introductions, my name's Sash Baku, and I'm the Head of International Recruitment and Global Opportunities at Goldsmiths University of London. Joined today with me is Dr. Kelly Meng Parnwell. She is from our Institute of Creative and Cultural Entrepreneurship Department, and is also program leader for the MA Luxury Brand Management program. So today what we're going to do is we're going to give you an overview of I'm just going to record this session. Actually, I'm not sure if this is recording, but I'm just going to record this session. Today what we're going to be doing is Kelly's going to give you an overview of the department at Goldsmiths University of London, and then we're going to go into some specifics around the MA Luxury Brand Management program and a very exciting new program which Kelly will talk to you all about in a moment. I will be in the background. I'll mute myself and I will go off camera, and at the end there'll be an opportunity for you to ask any questions if you have them. So if you do think of any, just pop them in the chat box and we'll take them at the end. Over to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Sash, and hello everyone. Good evening and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Kelly, and as Sash said, I'm very glad to be here today to introduce our department and as well as two of the programs that I'm currently leading. I'm going to share my screen. So go. Hopefully you can see my screen. As Sash just mentioned, our department is the Creative and Cultural Institute of Creative and Cultural Entrepreneurship. So the department virtually established just over 10 years ago, about 12, 13 years ago. And the establishment of the department was mainly to respond to the growing industry, one of the most important industry in the UK, which is the creative and cultural industry. And but the founder of the department actually has been in the creative cultural industry for almost 4 decades. Initially, he was the head of the department for the theatre department. And with his vision about this creative industry, we actually formed our very unique approach to integrate entrepreneurship within the development of creative practice, and to take a very creative approach to the development of new business and the infrastructure to support these entrepreneurs in this industry. And obviously, we within our department, we deliver entrepreneurship, cultural management, policy educations, and so to support the research and also develop the new kind of models, and to really contribute one of the most important industry here in the UK. But over the years, we actually drawn a lot of interest from international students. Year after year, now we've grown into a very, very strong and big department. We are a group of academics, literally have a really good combination, a very interesting mix of expertise and a combination of theory and practice, including myself. Almost every academic had not only had a really excellent academic education background, but also had a rich experience in the industry. Therefore, the program we actually managed to bring out not only challenging, creative, but also always target the most pressing issues within the creative and cultural industry. And we, since all our academics come from a different, international background and also subject background, we always manage to bring our kind of a multidisciplinary approach when we teach and engage with our students. So we have a diversified way of engage with our students, but now also we try to challenge and not just stay within the academic disciplines, but also widely engage with the industry. So far we have more than 100 partners from the industry, and the numbers still going on, still growing. And so just give you an example, this are some of the partners we frequently collaborate, engage with. So with such kind of a wider industry engagement, it gives our students a lot of experience and knowledge that they can learn beyond the academic disciplines, and so to allow them to have a balance of practice and the theory, and prepare them for their future job and careers. So, and again, this is just one of the example from last term. It's actually from my program. I managed to bring our students to the Sotheby's on Bond Street. And the Sotheby's is one of the top art institutions, and as you know, and they actually really kind and generous, offer some exclusive talks to our students and bring their field experts to speak art, furniture, and sculptures, all subjects. So again, this is actually a kind of a snapshot of our department pedagogy and teaching style, that we try to bring this multidisciplinary studies to our students with an international perspective to widely prepare our students to connect with the industry in their near future job. And therefore, as I mentioned earlier, we managed to draw a lot of interest from international students. So even though we compare with many other departments in Goldsmiths, we're not we only have probably over a decade history, but we already have students from more than 40 different nations. These are just a short list to show where they come from. And so what do our students study with us? Essentially, our department offer 8 MA program and 1 postgraduate diploma program, and also 1 bachelor BA program. And in today's session, I will particularly introduce 2 of the program that I've been closely involved. The first one is luxury brand management, which I've been leading and managing in the last 5 years. And the other one, which I often call it as the sister program, that is the MA International Retail Business Sustainability and Technology, which I recently developed based on the my personal and also our academic staff's experience. So in the next session, I will give a more detailed explanation about, or an introduction about the 2 programs. So for many of you, probably the MA Luxury Brand Management program isn't a very new one, because we have been on the market for 5 years. But now I can proudly say this has been a very successful program within ICE and Goldsmiths. Fundamentally, this program offers our students both the theoretical and empirical tools to address and evaluate the major issues across all luxury sectors. So it's not just the luxury fashion, but all sectors within the luxury industry. And our students could study with us, learn managerial, entrepreneur, and other many professional skills that are required for them to work in the future luxury industry. So we are actually in the last 5 years, we actually, not only we follow the ICCE principles to deliver multidisciplinary study to our students, but most important, I think we in South London, we managed to bring a really wide and international global view to our students about the luxury industry throughout the whole sectors, not only the fashion, but also, the hospitalities, and also many kind of niche areas such as furniture, such as even the super yacht, all this kind of niche, but still often overlooked sectors. But within our studies, we want to cover them all, try to give the students as many exposure as possible. And also over the 5 years, we managed to engage with so many luxury houses and institutions. Not only they support us to give a frequent guest talks, but also allow our students to engage with the industry from a very early stage. So of my kind of probably partially from my personal experience, I've been in the UK for 16 years, but when I first came in, I never actually had the opportunity to study luxury, but I managed to kind of work out my way through my career. But this actually very much benefited me when I delivered the program. And so from the very beginning, I deeply believe luxury studies is not just a pure singular business subject. Instead, it's actually a multidisciplinary subject that offer and allow or require the student to kind of have an exposure to different subject areas such as art design, sociologies, and business, economics, even law. So this means not only we can open our door to welcome students from all walks of life, from all different diversified backgrounds, but it also means when we deliver the subject knowledge, we try to cover as many subjects as possible to allow our students to kind of equip with a wide knowledge and sufficient kind of a knowledge when they really need to bring out this creativity to work in this one of the most competitive industry, which is luxury industry. And so we introduced this program in 2017. By 2021, we already have more than 260 students. Mainly they are the international students from Asia, South Asia, North America, Europe, Africa, all continents. And as I say, our students, because we open door to students with all backgrounds, so that's why it actually make a really interesting cohort every year. Every year they're different. Every year there's some excitement and new topics because of the students also learn from each other, and it actually gives us really a lot of constant new topics that we can not only allow students to discuss themselves, but they can also learn from each other. But in general, our students tend to come from the art design background, or business background, or hospitality background. And in the recent years, I even have a student from law background, even engineer or pharmaceutical background. So it is really, really fascinating every year to meet the new cohort. And also, we recognize the importance for students to engage with the industry. So not only we bring the industry people in, we also encourage our students to get into the industry. So roughly, we have about between 50 to 60% of the students would like to take up some part-time jobs or internship positions within when they join us during their studies. So how we teach, as I mentioned, because it's a multidisciplinary subject, so we tend to kind of offer students a lot of options. They obviously need to study the foundations, the core modules, which are the three. Many of you probably, if you look at our website, you will familiar with the three core modules. And also we adding 14 different optional modules from 3 other departments and plus ICE to give our students the opportunity to get into different pathways or to have a mix and match choices that to expand their knowledge base. So in general, they can go into either the tourism path or the museum path or the pure management business path, or even the entrepreneurial path. But often I notice from my student in the past 5 years, they tend to have a really good mix so that they can learn every single thing. Challenging indeed, but it's very fruitful at the end of their program. And obviously our program will finish with a big dissertation. Often when students first into this course, they thought, okay, that's going to be just academic, but actually over the year, it turned out the dissertation is a really good preparation for students' future career, because we try to encourage our students to apply what they learn over the year to their kind of a future career or future project. We actually even have a students through the project, the research project, manage to secure their future job in the luxury industry, which it is the fundamental, what we help and what we want our students to achieve through this program. So pedagogically, we actually want to we have a different way of to engage and teach our student and our student to learn through our program. Obviously, apart from the basic, as a MA student, what the basic you need to do, the core modules, optional modules, independent readings and complete the coursework exams. We also have a lot of one-to-one engagement with our student, which is the tutorial. I think a lot of the students always praise that, through this program, they feel the personal care from us, from the department academics, because every single student is different, they are unique. So we want to treat our student uniquely to meet their, individual learning needs. And then obviously, as mentioned, the guest seminars, the group work and the visit trips, these are all kind of a different learning activities to kind of filled into our students' 1-year program learning. So that's actually bring up quite a rich learning experience to our students. Just a quick kind of, I didn't do a systematic calculation, but these are the kind of companies that our graduates now have engaged and joined. Some of them joined the big name. Some of them actually get down to embark on the next stage of study doing their PhD. And some of them actually establish their own little enterprise. So by all means, these are the great network for our existing students and particularly for our future students. So this is just this is one page I added actually from yesterday. We actually very privilege and honor to have a great from Chanel UK to give us a guest talk last night to help our students and to give them a really important session to talk about how to build a career in today's world. I think obviously I do all students can secure their dream job in the luxury industry, but many probably will work out different pathways to their career. But this is one of the sessions that we try to bring out a student, a very real session, a session that really can allow a student to get in touch with the real world, to build their to think about their future career. So this sessions as such run frequently throughout the year. Initially, I offered this session exclusively to our luxury students, but because I developed a sister program, which is the retail program I'm going to talk about, I would offer the same kind of opportunity to our student in the retail program to join us in the coming year. Who we are looking for then? As I say, we open door to people from all walks of life, but we also, we do have a kind of particular requirement for students who can enter. Because it's a competitive program, so we do require a 2.1 degree or above or equivalent. Occasionally, we also acknowledge the appropriate life and professional experience, but we need to appraise every single student's application on a case-by-case basis. And that English for international students are fundamentally important. So for entry level, for entry requirement, we do need IELTS or equivalent, IELTS qualification to justify your English skills. So for IELTS, we require a score of 6.5 with a minimum of 6.5 in writing, but no low with no individual element lower than 6.0. You can also get in touch with our recruitment team or the mission team about other qualifications. For this program, we do interview application one by one. So that's what I've been doing the last 3 years. And so because it takes a little bit longer time, so we encourage students to send their application as early as possible to, if in case that we need to set up the interview and to go through the process. Also, over the last 5 years, I noticed some of the kind of pitfalls that the student try to, or mistakes, let's say, students tend to make during their application. That's why I think using this opportunity, I want to make, make things clear about your application. So you don't need to have a so-called art or design or luxury background to come to our program, but you must be passionate about what you want to learn, what you want to learn from this program. So essentially, like many other applications, you need to do your homework first before you apply. You need to first at least read our website, understand our program thoroughly before you make your decision. Say, this is the program I want to apply, I want to study, and therefore I'm going to submit an application. So this is a serious decision rather than just a decision randomly to say to your, I just try, give a try. It's not going to work, because luxury is a serious industry, so making a study decisions should be a serious consideration. And we do need, before you can secure an interview with me, we really review your application through your written statement. So, and that's why that's the first channel you establish with our admission officer and me myself. So if you want to have a conversation with me face to face, you need to really reason yourself why I should give you the opportunity to, have an open conversation. And you are applying for Goldsmiths, so you need to talk about Goldsmiths. And for the last 5 years, I've seen so many applications that are talking about, I want to study with Kingston, therefore I apply with Goldsmiths. This definitely is not going to work, because you're aiming either too wide or you didn't take us serious. And also, please prepare your own personal statement. I can assure you that over the years, I've read so many statements that are almost like a template. I can even tell from the first paragraph what is going to be the second paragraph about. So please do kind of generally express your own thought, your own thinking, even your own reflection in your personal statement. Even your language is raw, it's not perfect, at least it's your own engagement with me. You want to talk to me, you want me to know why you want to study, how you think about luxury, how does this program is going to benefit you. So please prepare your own personal statement rather than ask someone else to write a very general one. And also I noticed students tend to quote many other people's words. It's not necessary. As I say, luxury industry fundamentally is about the people's engagement. That's really, really important. So that's why I want you to honestly use the most simple, full-thread word to express your own opinion. That I'd rather to hear your own words in your own personal statement. So please just, even it's very short and it's your own effort, and I can tell. But nevertheless, you need to really cover the following aspects in your personal statement. And that's, your background and how does this background really related to your future study? And then really, what do you expect to achieve through the study? And how do you think that Goldsmiths, particularly the program at Goldsmiths, particularly align with your future goal and aspiration? And if you want to add a little more, I'd rather to hear your own personal view about the current issues, the current problems. How do you want to really plan your future? That's fine, as long as your own input. I hope these would help you to kind of shape a much more specific application for this particular program, and also the retail program as well. It's the same kind of same principle that we apply when how we evaluate our application. And so it was the first part was about the luxury program, and now I want to move on to this new MA program, which I would like to call it the sister program for luxury brand management. Very quickly, the reason why we developed this new program and introduced this program this year is because over the years when we teach luxury program, we identify there's such a niche that quite a large group of the students have a particular focus and interest in the retail operation, and also look at how the sustainability technology really can interact and benefit or kind of engaged with the retail operation. So we thought actually that's really interesting indication from our existing students. And also slightly different from the luxury industry. The retail industry actually has much closer kind of a relationship in all our livings, because every single thing we do now have to be associated with the retail industry. So I thought that's probably give us a more kind of a focus to, we should have this as a focus to build a new program. On the other hand, is probably a little bit personal input, is because, as I said, I never studied retail or luxury. However, I managed to build a first part of my career. I built it's actually through the retail and luxury industry. So and through my kind of personal industry career, I noticed that year after year, we actually can see there's a younger generation of people coming into the retailing, try to work out how to identify their area in this industry. And, but then after decades, I think this industry indeed, at the current year and day, this industry indeed needs some fresh blood, professional with, fresh in mind, with a stronger and probably alternative way to solve many of the pressing issues in current retail industry. So based on this some also the luxury program experience, we therefore come up with a brand new program, but we're still related. That's why we kind of named it International Retail Business, Sustainability, and Technology. The key thing is, it is a three-pillar: retail, sustainability, and technology. We want to bring the three pillar, together and dedicate them to the new program, and to the aim to educate our students with a kind of using a multidisciplinary approach, the normal, often the approach we apply in NICE, to give students not only the fundamental knowledge of the retail industry, but also give the student exposure to a much diverse range of contemporary issues and knowledge, and provide them with the knowledge and skills to allow them to be able to come up with solutions, better solutions in the current and the future retail industry. So to put in in a simple words, why this program is slightly different, or why you should come to study with us for retail business at Goldsmiths, is because as I said, constantly I stress on this, it is a multidisciplinary course, and we actually pull the best results from both ICE and the computing department to build this brand new program. So you are going to have a really multi and cross-departmental study experience. The other thing is, we're not just about to talk about those conventional, business, retail management. We actually want to really get into the core to talk about those really serious issues we really need to address from the industry, and particularly on sustainability and technology, as well as leadership. And again, it is going to be a well-balanced practical and theoretical program. So students will have, an opportunity to look at the new ideas, and will join the students who want to make change for the future retail industry. As I mentioned in my previous slides, I would like to offer the new MA students to have the opportunity to access the professional network that our luxury program already built. So that means you can actually attend, as you wish, the guest talks, and also connect with our previous alumni from the luxury program graduate. I'm not going to repeat myself, but this is just quickly to say we are our retail program is different from the conventional retail management courses, which tend to predominantly focus on the management. But we actually want to, through the 3 pillar studies, the retail business, sustainability, and technology, to bring a kind of more holistic and full dimensional studies to our students, so that you can actually not only see the kind of management issues, but also the entire kind of retail supply chain, and to evaluate and to identify issues and come up with new solutions. And multidisciplinary approach, I'm not going to repeat again, but this is definitely our star way to engage with our students. So in a nutshell, this is a graph that I actually proposed to our, initially proposed to our university. Now I would like to use to demonstrate to our future students. This is a 3 pillar way of study. So we would like to think this is actually quite novel and new way to engage with the retail industry. Only through a multi-dimensional way to engage with retail. Otherwise, all the topics, all the agenda you can learn when you study will still kind of based on the superficial level. But we want to use through this program, we want our students to drill down the deep issues that embedded within the retail industry, from human to the industry to the consumer. So it's and we are actually very excited because there's so many of our academics already come up with some really exciting and sometimes even we will say student might feel shocked, but these are really necessary topics that we're going to convince through this program. And so giving a little bit, sorry, this will be a slightly, I should change this. The core modules now will be the 70 credits from the core modules. And then similar to the luxury program, you will have a 45 credits from many other departments to choose your options to fit into your own study needs. You will have opportunity to choose some option modules from a luxury program, which I didn't offer to any other program, but you also can choose modules from IMS, Institute of Management Studies, and Medium and Communication, Cultural Studies, as well as Computing Department. So this is actually even wider range of the choices you can choose. And similar to luxury program, this will be the final project will be a research-oriented project. But again, we want to bring this creative and critical learning into into this. It's a final showcase of our students' creative and critical learning outcomes. And same graph, we adopt this a similar pedagogy to engage with our students' learning. So you will have the big lectures, but you're also going to get individual care to fit into your study needs. Just quickly to kind of go through the core modules in the following slides, but I'm not going to spend too much because we actually put everything in our website as well. But first of all, as I said, this program at the core modules actually have 3 core pillars. So the first pillar is the retail business. And we first of all must give you the fundamental knowledge and the backgrounds about the retail industry, so that you won't feel, because some of you probably never had any experience or study knowledge about retail. So the first stage will give you the fundamental knowledge about the retail industry. But then we get into the deep drill down level, the dimension, that we actually want to give our students an approach to really critically evaluate some of the strategies and models that have been used in different retail goods and service, not only globally but also possibly regionally and locally. Not possibly, definitely regionally and locally. So again, this is actually, the retail business is similar to the luxury. We are not only just talk about retail fashion, but we are actually want to cover all retail sectors, from fashion to food to car to petrol station to many. So this is, again, once we give you the fundamental knowledge, we want you to use knowledge to critically evaluate the strategies approach that have been applied by the current retail business. And then I think there will be a way to get into from theory to the practical side. We're going to help our students to engage with some more practical agendas in the current retail industry, with the aim to kind of come up with more creative solutions for the future retail operations. And also we look at the retail not just from the front line, the consumer view, which is important, we will look at that, but we actually want our students to look at the whole entire retail chain. And that's where the sustainability and technology will kick in, because both sustainability and technology will have to engage within the retail business from every stage of the retail supply chain. So that's why we want to, through this way, we want to give our students a wider exposure of the holistic retail, the whole entire retail industry and their operation. And sustainability is really the kind of a pivotal kind of pillar for the program. This is the first time we're going to introduce a module going to run through the whole first term and second term, so that the student can more easily to see the connections between the sustainability with retail business, sustainability with the technology. So I know sustainability has become a buzzword used by both retail business and the retail consumers, but that's a problem. We don't want our students only stop at a superficial level, just only talk about sustainability as a possible commercial term. No, what we want our students is actually get into the root of the sustainability, from the concept to the theory, to the policy, to the application. So it's really important that the future retail professionals, especially the industry manager and leaders, have a vision, have a good knowledge, have a good understanding how to apply the sustainability principles into every stage of their retail business. And if the professional have done for decades ago, we probably have a completely different view, different world. But it's it's better to start to do. That's why we want to kind of get our students to really seriously, critically engage with this, the so-called concept, but then to operationalize the concept into the retail business, from both the business perspective and the consumer's perspective. The data technology one is actually designed by the computing department. So as I said, I never studied retail, and I actually didn't study the data science. But then at one stage of my career, every day I deal with retailers using talking about data. But how did I do that? that's partially my kind of inspiration when I want to build this program and when I talk to the colleagues with competing department, is because, you know, over my career, I noticed the frontline retail operators and the backstage, you know, the technicians who are writing codes, there seems always a gap that between the two parties, that they don't seem to be able to kind of communicate easily or in a common language. So that's actually boiled down that how to really understand, you know, consumer data and how to translate the retail operation data, consumer data into something that the tech people can understand, and then therefore can better enhance the service through the back end. And that's the, you know, the fundamentals where when we introduced this module. We thought either, you know, from the very beginning of the technology, when everybody started using the internet, until now that we almost developing towards the trend of the web 3.0, it actually, it's all about how to really use the data, how to interpret data, how to present data, how to really apply the existing data knowledge to enhance and then to benefit your current business, or to operationalize, or to kind of you know, really engage with the consumer. So that's why I think we actually using this module to kind of help our students to equip such skill and knowledge, and so that in the future, when you get into the retail job market, you will have the skills that to kind of fill the gap, to allow your frontline retail operators and the backstage technicians to have a better understanding and to enhance your overall retail business with the purpose to better serve the consumer and to benefit the business overall. So again, in a nutshell, this is how we look at our 3 pillars way of when we design the program. So each pillar would engage with the other 2, and at the same time enable the other 2 to come up with a more kind of integrated kind of knowledge pool to allow our students to get into this retail business study. And again, you know, we kind of follow the similar principle as luxury program. We open the door to students with all backgrounds, whether you had retail study before or not. It doesn't matter, as long as you're passionate about, you want to learn more about the retailing. But we do want 2.1 degree or equivalent. Again, as Goldsmiths, we always kind of allow you know, people to join with a proper life and professional experience, but we will evaluate every case, case by case. Language requirement is same as the luxury program. We don't interview all our candidates through this program. Virtually, we get offer, we make decision by reading, by look at your application, by reading your you know, personal statement. But we also sometimes we will select certain application for interview, but that's not for all. It's just very occasion cases. And so who should actually look at our program and to join us? Obviously, if you already have a first degree, you are at your early stage of your career, and you want to seek for a kind of the right qualification to enter the, you know, exciting retail industry, I think definitely you should think about consider our program. And or if you're already in your kind of a mid-career stage, but you feel you just so want to change, you want to enter the retail industry and to change your career path, I think this is the program definitely you should consider, because with your previous experience, the program will allow the transferable skills to be applied to the retail industry. And I think this program will be really beneficial. And obviously, for many of you, if you already work in a big corporate, but you want to have a your own kind of consultancy firms, focus on the advising on the sustainability and technology within the retail industry, I think we will be a good choice for you. And obviously, if you want to continue your further study after your master, but you're particularly interested in the retail, I think that will be a transitional program for you before you apply for a PhD. But above all, we want, we can provide the knowledge, the skills and tools you need if you want to really engage with the future retail industry. And so that's it from me. And I now will be able to take questions.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That was really interesting and great to hear about the new programs at Goldsmiths, and they're nice. So the questions have been coming in thick and fast on the YouTube channel, some of which you've already answered or touched upon in your presentation, but for the benefit of the audience, perhaps we can just summarize again. So the first question is from Himanshi, and she's asking how international retail business sustainability and technology course differs from conventional retail management courses available in other UK universities.
Okay, I think first of all, as I say, we bring these 3 pillars into our retail program. Not only just a little bit extra add-on, we actually seriously make the sustainability and technology as 2 individual quite big modules to together incorporate with retail studies. So that when you conventional, if you study retail, you probably go through mainly the management from how to operate, how to do VM, all this stuff. But it's important, it's a fundamental. We will have to touch on those fundamental. But the current retail industry, the issues we're facing is not just at the front line. It actually the whole entire retail chain. But it is not just all about how to operate the retail business. It's about to bring all the issues and to have a kind of a integrate thinking, particularly the sustainability and technology, into the agenda. And you have to, come up with new solutions. So that's why, in that sense, we have expertise to deliver those subjects, and that's why I'm quite confident to say that we are different at Goldsmiths in that sense.
Thanks, Kelly. That's really interesting. And yeah, I completely agree in terms of bridging the kind of the new concepts and concerns that a lot of businesses have, and having that fresh approach and being able to understand the kind of the new market in which a lot of businesses are operating in, and bridging in that element of technology and sustainability kind of is what separates potentially Goldsmiths from some courses that have taught it from a kind of a very traditional kind of not necessarily outdated, but that haven't kind of brought in those kind of new concepts that the international retail business sector needs to take into account. So thanks for that.
And also adding a little bit more, because we are in a, same as luxury program, we are at the creative cultural industry. So we actually bring this kind of entrepreneurial sense into our program. Also, the reason why we could put the 2 kind of business-like program into creative and cultural kind of is because both program or both industry actually tightly, highly integrated with this, the creative and cultural industry. So, and that's probably the unique input of Goldsmiths and of ICE that can bring a quite a different view or perspective for retail or luxury studies. And, I was a retail manager. I saw the gap many years ago. So it hasn't changed much, particularly over the pandemic period. And now I think it's the time that I think the younger generation should really have a different way to engage with retail studies.
Thanks, Kelly. That's really enlightening. There's another question here from Shruti. When is the deadline to apply for International Retail Business Sustainability and Technologies? And does this course have a placement year?
Okay. The deadline, I would say, we're still open. We'll probably open for a few more months because it's new. We only introduced, early this year. But by all means, I would say apply ASAP before all the positions being filled. In terms of a placement, it is a question that always comes from luxury as well. I would say, when you are in London, the so-called placement, it actually is naturally not going to be a problem because you are in the center of the retail, luxury, retail in London. So placement is not going to be a compulsory element for your study. However, it is also not the only way for you to engage with the practical dimension of retail. You will have a lot of ways to engage with the practical world. But then once you are in London, work out your niche, your specific area in the retail. I would say there's plenty of opportunity for you to get into, and we are going to support you. Like we bring some HR expertise to tell you how to get on with the real job. And that's probably fundamentally important for you to have a skill rather than say, here we go, there's a job, take it. You probably don't like it. So I think this is for younger generations, really important to really have the skill to steer to the place you want to go rather than to be given. I think as an educator, that's what I fundamentally believe is important.
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. I think the point about London and specifically it's even more important for programs like luxury brand management and MA International Retail Business, where that London location is really, really important because all the connections are right on your doorstep. There really is kind of, in terms of a connection and networking point of view, there's no real better kind of location to study that subject area. And also, Kelly, thanks at the beginning of your presentation for mentioning the kind of the huge list of kind of partners that, the wider department has connections with. And that's, a great kind of networking opportunity for students as well, even though there's not a kind of a designated placement. The department as a whole is so linked up to the industry. And that's a kind of a really key hallmark of ICE, which is the Institute of Creative and Cultural Entrepreneurship at Goldsmiths. Is just so many kind of genuine, real connections that the department has. And as Kelly mentioned in her presentation as well, you saw some of the field trips that the students do as well. So there really is ample opportunity for career development on these programs. Another question for you, Kelly, is, there was a question here from Preeti, which I will take around, does this course fall under British Council scholarships for women in STEM? These courses don't, unfortunately, but there is one course that sits within ICE that is eligible for the Women in STEM scholarship, and that's the MA Social Entrepreneurship. We do have 3 other programs as well that are eligible for that scholarship, and I'll pop those in the chat for you as well. There's a question here from Cheyenne. Does this course require a portfolio? And if so, what would the portfolio look like?
No, I don't need a portfolio, but I need a genuine personal statement. That's kind of I mentioned in the luxury program personal statement. It applied to the retail program too. You probably just had the passion to get into the future retail industry. Why? Just tell me the simple reason why. I actually love to read, sometimes very short, but very personal message about why you want to do this. and
Yeah.
how does this relate to your future? So no portfolio, put all your efforts into, a 1 page of a personal statement, have a conversation with me.
That's a really good point, Kelly. And I think definitely one worth stressing. I think the tradition has always been in India to write 1 or 2 personal statements or SOPs for the various different universities that you're applying for. At Goldsmiths specifically, that we really do value the SOP or the personal statement. So having that specificity, as Kelly mentioned earlier, is really, really important, because it's your first way of communicating with the program leader, Kelly, and with the university. And sometimes, when you see, we should really be able to take away the words MA Luxury Brand Management or MA International Retail Business and Goldsmiths University of London, and know that you're talking about this program. So, when Kelly mentioned earlier around kind of how this course differs, the MA International Retail differs in terms of bringing in kind of new concepts that other universities perhaps haven't looked at, like sustainability and technologies. Talk to us about your passions and your thoughts around that. Show that you've differentiated our program for perhaps some of the other standardized programs that are out there. That's a really important point, and kind of sets your application apart from perhaps some of the others as well. So yeah, no portfolio, but really focus on the SOPs and personal statements.
Yeah, and also there's no point to prepare one statement and to all universities. It's almost you apply a job. How do you treat your dream job? You're going to tailor it. So so we need a bit kind of we give you a personal care. So first of all, you give us a little bit personal consideration. So yes.
Thanks, Kelly. There's a question here from Nova. Can a mature applicant get entry into the MA Luxury Brand Management? I have a 3-year diploma in fashion and 7 years of experience in the same field. Can I get entry into the MA Luxury Brand Management program?
As I say, we do appreciate life and experience for we do consider this kind of applicant. The only thing is, again, how do you really express your learning needs with us, and why you think you must come to study with us, and also then we need to get into the interview stage. If we think it is a good applicant, I will have a conversation with you to work out whether we're the right program for you, whether you are the right applicant for us. Because it's a very competitive program, so we have to evaluate everyone on case-by-case basis. So by all means, do send out your application sooner, because this one is already pretty full at this stage. So I would say if you still consider to come to study this year, you should really get your application out now.
Perfect, thanks, Kelly. There's another question here from Sonil. For MA Luxury Brand Management, can you provide an insight on the students who have turned into entrepreneurs or who have got placed in a company after completion of course?
Right. I don't know about the so-called insights, but what I can say from, as far as I know, many of my students, some of them set up their own brands, and not necessarily ultra super luxury at the high end, based on some of really interesting based on the first assignment they wrote. Because when I asked them to say, okay, come up with a kind of a business plan to start your own luxury brand concept, they just wrote it at the point. And then after they finished their studies, at one point they suddenly realized, oh, I had that dream, I had that idea. Now I had the opportunity, why not to run it? So actually now I have students who set up their own fashion brand, their own kind of a boutique cocktail bar, and also even the agency to help luxury graduate to secure their jobs. There's all sorts of entrepreneurs. In terms of getting into the big luxury house, I have to say we offer their skills how to secure a job, but we never say, because they are my student, please give them a job. No, luxury industry only pick the best candidate. So that's where through the 1-year program, you really have to identify in which niche area of luxury you are good at. B, strategically plan which company you really want to work for and what roles. And then C, when you're ready, you have to be confidently competitive enough to win this job. So yesterday when Greg actually came to talk, then he said that one quality, resilience. And that's really important. And that's what luxury industry looking at. So I would say many of students get into Gucci, get into Christian Dior with all these luxury houses. Now I can look back, these are students all very, very excellent. Academic performance are really excellent students, I can say that. And that's why it's reflecting their job, job situation as well.
Fantastic, thanks, Kelly. And just to add to the point around startups and kind of Goldsmiths' commitment to sort of entrepreneurialism, just to put some ranking and stats behind that, Goldsmiths last year was ranked in the top 3 universities in the UK for producing business founders. So it just goes to show how many of our students have that sort of entrepreneurial spirit. If you choose not to kind of go into the kind of the corporate entrepreneurial world, if you choose to kind of go on your own, there's a kind of Goldsmiths does have a really kind of rich history of doing that, which is shown in that the number of kind of business founders that we have in our alumni. There's another question here for you, Kelly, around sorry, I just find where I was. I'm working. So there's a question from Ruchi. I'm working from commerce background and work for e-merchandising platform. Would I be eligible for the MA Luxury Brand Management?
Again, we need to look at your full application before we can, give you. So it really depends. It's not just because you work at in one industry for certain years. It's actually, we need to evaluate the whole entire kind of application. So I can't give you an answer, but let's say the program is really competitive, so you should consider to apply sooner. So we would really have a time to evaluate.
Fantastic, thanks, Kelly. There's a question here from Hashik, and he says, do you provide IELTS waiver and accept MOI? So we do. I'll take this one if that's okay, Kelly. So we do accept an IELTS waiver. So we have we accept students who achieve 75% in their standard 12 English from any state or local board, and we waive IELTS, but we waive the IELTS if you've achieved that. But that has a expiry date of 5 years, so it needs to be in date of 5 years for it to be eligible. We do also accept MOI, but that can be a very lengthy process. So I recommend, if you're looking for an early offer to use to apply for education loans or scholarships, I do recommend that you either use your standard 12th or you take an IELTS, because the MOI internally at Goldsmiths can take some time to process. So that would be my advice for you there. There's a question here around does Goldsmiths accept students from different backgrounds? If I've never studied luxury, but I've just studied business management, can I apply to either of the programs?
Yes, and as I mentioned, both programs open the door to to applicants from all walks of life. And then the other thing is, I notice still a lot of the people are kind of aiming for luxury, but to be very honest, the retail program can also applicable to the luxury industry, because luxury retail is a big part of the retail luxury business. So that's what I actually would like to use the opportunity to suggest. If you apply for luxury, which is really competitive, it might be just consider the retail as well, because these two are sister programs, and you don't completely isolate from each other. So it might get even, I would say you probably have a more kind of a actual kind of a values if you feel in the future you're more likely to be on the retail side of the luxury. So that's my advice, to consider both. If you, yeah.
Thanks, Kelly. And there's just one final question from Praveen, and he's mentioning, although this is a new course, what do you see as the job prospects for MA International Retail Business after students graduate? And he's also asking, what are going to be the methods of assessment for the program?
Okay. Indeed, this is really a new program, and but I would say retail business is huge. Is actually related to every single bit of living of us. So, you know, I can't say guarantee you're definitely going to get a job or your dream job, but I would say it's not going to be difficult to really aiming for a retail job, either in a luxury or non-luxury. In terms of the assessment, that's really interesting. I think that we always have a mix of assessment, and depends on the module. But for the core modules, we are looking at both the study journals, the conventional essays, creative report, critical report, and dissertation, and this sometimes some modules will offer, say, presentation and group work and exam. So there's all forms of assessment. But by all means, I think our academics are pretty supportive. Because I choose the module, the academic is definitely very supportive. So you don't need to worry a lot about complete a coursework. I wouldn't worry about that too much yet.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you everybody on the call for attending today's session. If you have any questions around either of the programs, I will pop both mine and Kelly's email in the chat. And yeah, both programs are available to apply online now. And as Kelly mentioned, if you are interested, do try and apply early to avoid disappointment. But thank you so much, everybody, for your time today. Have a great evening and a great rest of your week. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Session. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Ranjini. Are we offline now? Thanks, SOK. Thanks, Ranjini, for hosting us today. Appreciate it. Thank you.